Hey everybody, it's PDubs. Last week while I was out traveling, AtGames released the Twilight Zone to run natively on their Legends Pinball 4KP platform. A lot of AtGames influencers have been telling you it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, but here's the question. Are they lying to us? Okay guys, we're back. Kind of a controversial way to kick off the video, but it's actually kind of a fair question since these Zen Studios games have been slowly rolling out on the AtGames Legends Pinball 4KP platform. I've seen a number of AtGames influencers who unfortunately just seem to think that everything is fine, that everything is great, and oh hey, as long as you turn off all the features, maybe it makes these games playable. And in my opinion, I've been an advocate saying I should be able to run all features of these games just like I could if I was purchasing these games on a console from Zen Studios, and they should all be working and performing fantastically. It should be a good experience, especially with the price tag of some of these games are $15 a piece. Now, what I can tell you is we've seen a number of issues with pretty much every game released so far. Whether it's some games have better graphics, some games have worse graphics, some games look 720p, some games look 1080p, some games look like an upscaled 1080p that they call 4K. We've also seen a major issue when it comes to the plunger delay, plunger lag, input latency with the flippers, things like that. These are all known issues. Everyone knows about them, and at least AtGames is honest. Whenever you go to buy a pinball pack, they have release notes there saying, hey, just so you know, it's got issues before you buy it. So, you know, shame on us, I suppose. But either way, so Twilight Zone comes out, and I went ahead and I purchased it myself. It was not given to me for free, and I went ahead and I checked it out for you. So starting with the appearance of the table, in particular the backglass image. The backglass image is in its proper aspect ratio. You'll notice that it's not stretched. You do have some black borders on the sides. And honestly, now that I am hearing, you know, the feedback that, hey, if they did fill up the entire backglass, it would distort the image a bit, I'm actually okay with it. And actually, when you look at the quality of this particular backglass image, it doesn't look all muddied or blurry. It doesn't look like some of the other things we've seen from AtGames. This is a nice high-resolution backglass image for this particular pinball game. And in my opinion, it looks pretty dang good. I'm pretty impressed. Whenever I glance up and look at that backglass while playing this game, I think it looks great. Now, when it comes to the DMD, again, we have wasted space on the top and bottom of the DMDs. These are the same Zen Studios DMDs we've seen on a lot of the games that they've made a while ago. Keep in mind the newer games take up much more of the DMD. If you think of like the new Star Trek games and things like that, they fill up pretty much the entire DMD. Again, this is the older FX2, FX3, and as well as Pinball FX style DMDs. And that Zen Studios is just porting over the same aspect ratio. They're not stretching these or altering these to fill the actual DMD. What is nice about the Twilight Zone game is the DMD does change colors while you play, and that's a pretty nice feature. Overall, it is what it is, and it's just okay. Now, when it comes to the look of the playfield itself, this is where AtGames really shot themselves in the foot, as well as, let's be honest, Zen Studios with the version of Star Trek: The Next Generation that they put out, that they recently released. That game just looks like a 720p version of that virtual pinball game. There's much better versions of that released elsewhere. Now, what's interesting is on this particular Twilight Zone table, as I looked around this table and checked everything out, I could read all the lettering on all the lights. I could read all the lettering on the apron. I could read all the lettering on the playfield. Everywhere there's words, I could clearly read it, as well as everything that was on the playfield was also nice, clean, and clear, including the side rails and things like that, where we've seen a lot of really just awful jagged edges on some of these ports of these games that we haven't been able to, you know, say, hey, all the games look beautiful, right? I mean, that's honest feedback, because they don't. This particular game, though, what they came up with, it looks really good. It's a nice, crisp, clean-looking table. I'm impressed with the way the table looks, and I also understand that this, again, is just a low-powered Android version of the game compared to, you know, what you're going to see on console. Yes, the graphics and some stuff have been toned down. This game is going to look better on any other platform you buy and play it on, whether it's a PC or a console, your Xbox, your Switch, your PlayStation. It's definitely going to not look nearly as good as those versions, but for the version that they came up with here, I'm satisfied with the way that this particular pinball table looks. Okay, let's talk about the most important thing with these particular virtual pinball games is the gameplay. How does it look is great, but how does it perform? Well, I'm happy to report that compared to all other Zen Studios games that have been released on this platform previously, this game definitely, at least in my opinion, appears to have the most minimal flipper lag or flipper latency out of any other Zen Studios game that has come over so far. Yes, it is still there, but it is so minor in comparison to some of the other tables, again, in my opinion, that I feel that it is a truly enjoyable experience. Like, I've actually been able to play a Zen Studios game on the AtGames Legends Pinball, and I haven't had to curse once. I haven't gotten frustrated once. I haven't felt angry or upset. I haven't walked away from the pinball machine angry like I have playing some of the other Zen Studios games that have come over. So whatever this team figured out to do to make this game run as good as it does, I really hope they push out those similar updates to the existing tables that most of us have already paid and have played, and I would love to go back and revisit those tables once those updates come in, because some of those games, in my opinion, are simply not playable. But when it comes to the Twilight Zone, this game in particular, in my opinion, is very, very playable, and I've actually been really, really enjoying it. So definitely hats off to Zen Studios and AtGames for whatever they did to get this game ported over. In my opinion, it looks good enough for the hardware. It plays pretty dang good for the hardware. It could only be slightly improved on that flipper delay, but trust me, once you fire it up and play it, if you haven't done so already, you'll barely notice the difference between that and, let's just say, some of the Magic Pixel games. The Magic Pixel games that have the appropriate amount of flipper delay you would expect on a virtual pinball game. So in my opinion, this one is actually worth purchasing. I actually am feeling satisfied with the $15 I spent on it. And hopefully, even if they update that flipper lag just a little bit, even though I think people would be even more happy with it. I mean, I'm happy with it as is, but hey, at least in this particular case, I mean, I've seen a lot of content creators out there saying every single Zen Studios game is just so darn good, so darn amazing, and worth you spending your money on. Well, in my opinion, this is one that actually you could consider spending your money on and not feel guilty about it later. Anyway, guys, that's my quick video opinion review of the Twilight Zone on the AtGames Legends Pinball 4K product. Definitely want to get your thoughts, feedback, reactions below. And if you enjoyed this review, give me a thumbs up on your way out. And as always, my dudes, thank you for subscribing.